Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. You know what time it is, friends. It's a great day because today we go back to where everything started, back to Star Trek, the original series, specifically Season 2, Episode 20. Return to Tomorrow. I can't believe we're at 20 already, friends. Before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It greatly helps out a small channel, and it allows me to alert you next time we go live with Star Trek or any of our sci-fi offerings. And of course, if there's anything that we do that you would like early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description, my friends. But all that's then. This is now, and now it's time to go back where it all started. Star Trek, the original series, Season 2, Episode 20, Return to Tomorrow. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go! Look at that beauty cruising through space.
The reading's growing stronger, Captain.
Sulu!
Directly ahead.
Thank God. Everybody got a fresh cut.
Someone or something is attempting to attract our attention.
Someone or something has succeeded.
That's a weird angle for that shot.
Not even a Vulcan can know the unknown, Captain. We are hundreds of light years past where any Earth ship has ever explored.
Wow, okay. No check-off in navigation, though.
Class M planet, Captain.
An
Close
M.
to Earth conditions.
It doesn't look like an M.
With two very important exceptions. It is much older than Earth, and about 500,000 years ago, its atmosphere was totally ripped away by some sort of cataclysm.
So why is it still Class M?
I am Sargon. It is the energy of my thoughts which has touched your instruments and directed you here.
Sargon, take us away.
The planet is dead. There's no possibility of life there, as we understand life.
And I am as dead as my planet.
Ooh, it's an inhabitant.
If you let what is left of me perish, then all of you, all of mankind, must perish too.
Okay, so the stakes are a touch high. All right, Jim's going to tell us about the final frontier. You got to love an episode that starts off where it's like, here are the stakes. Utter oblivion for the human race. Okay. All right. So here's another question that I have. Strange that me having a question, but if it's originally categorized as a Class M, but has an apocalypse, like we were just talking about, where the atmosphere has been ripped away and no life's there, wouldn't that change its categorization of a class? I don't know what the classes are, but like, I know Class M is like supports human life, right? So why would it still be a Class M? Just because it was originally a Class M? I don't know. Help. All right. Who do we have? We know we don't have Joe Pevney, but who do we have for writer and director? John Kingsbridge, Ralph Sininsky. All right.
A world destroyed and dead for at least 500,000 years. Yet from it comes a voice.
Look how dark the bridge is.
Log entry out. How long before Starfleet receives that?
Over 3 weeks at this distance, sir.
Wow. They are hell and gone from Cartagena.
Your probes have touched me, Mr. Spoon.
There's a good touch, bad touch joke in there that I'm not going to touch.
But it is full of unknowns, and we can't risk both of us being off the ship. On the other hand, perhaps the Sargon would like you to come with us.
And the lights are back.
Will you transport down with us, Mr. Spock?
Evidently, Captain.
Evidently. Oh my God, I love Spock. Evidently. Evidently, I have no choice.
You could materialize inside solid rock.
Inside solid rock?
Bones really likes the transporter too.
Destroy us just standing here if they or it wanted to.
They or it?
Well, hello. I know that actress.
Dr. Ann Moho, astrobiology.
I know exactly who that is. That's the doctor that takes over for Crusher, right?
I did receive an order to report here for duty.
I'm sure she did, Captain. Just as you received an order to bring me along.
So Sargon picked who they want to come down. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's the doctor that replaced Crusher.
Are you joking?
No, we're not.
Let's go.
No, this is not a.
I will operate your controls.
This is like being on the Haunted Mansion at Disney. Don't touch the bar. A ghost will do it for you.
Well, as long as you're going down, I might as well take a medical look at whatever this is.
Bones, I am 100% with you. Not taking the security. Yep. Someone tell me if that's the doctor that replaces Crusher. I'm probably wrong, but I think I might have it.
This vault was constructed about 500,000 years ago. About the same time the planet's surface was destroyed, if our sensor readings are accurate.
500,000?
The air seems fresh. It must be recirculated somehow.
Is that for us, or does it need fresh air?
Well, it said it was dead, right?
I am Sargon.
Hey, Sargon. Look at the balls on him. I'll see myself out.
Pure energy. Matter without form.
Impossible.
But you once had a body of some type.
A body much as yours, my children.
Children. Second time.
Twice you've referred to us as my children.
Because it is possible you are our descendants, Captain Kirk.
Oh, wow.
Perhaps your own legends of an Adam and an Eve were two of our travelers.
Interesting. Are they taking their bodies or are they scanning?
I
Yep.
have taken his body to demonstrate
What was this?
I'm with you, Bones.
Lungs filling there again. To see again.
Oh, boy.
Be again.
Rutrow.
You, Dr. Ann Mulhull, and you, Mr. Spock. We require your bodies also,
Why?
so that we may live again.
Okay. So only the glowing ones are still alive? All the other balls are dead? Like, okay, so they're not going to give these bodies back.
We mean only that you should lend us your bodies for a short time.
And destroy them, just as you're burning that one up now.
Right.
To build humanoid robots, we must borrow your bodies long enough to have the use of your hands, your fingers.
Why don't you explain to us how to do it?
Our skills are far beyond your abilities.
You're going to kill our friend. Jim doing some movement work in this episode.
Do you remember any part of it?
Yes, Sargon borrowed my body. I was floating in time and space.
Great. I have shot myself, but
I know him now. I know what he is and what he wants.
do you know if he's telling the truth?
You're going to what? Are they all right in the head, Doctor?
No comment.
No comment.
I'm a scientist. The opportunity is an extraordinary one for experimentation, observation.
She's good.
Well, you could stop all this by saying no.
Listen, if you ask Bones to do something, he's going to do the opposite.
Then I still want one question answered to my satisfaction.
Why? But I must point out that the possibilities, the potential for knowledge and advancement is equally great. Risk. Risk is our business.
And business is booming.
Do I hear a negative vote?
We got everybody but Chekhov. Damn. No big
Well,
eight.
I guess we're about as ready as we'll ever be, Jim.
Ready, Sargon.
I was bowling balled ready. Risk is our business.
The transference is complete.
Now, Spock's was from the other side of the conflict.
Hello?
Uh-oh.
Even to breathe again.
So here's the thing then. Their race must have literally, for them to remember what it was like to be in bodies, they must have like transferred their mind essence during their generation of life, right?
Here.
Bill Shatner said, I'm getting that weekly kiss. I'd like to know the actor's name because she's doing a fantastic job. Very believable.
The Vulcans worship peace above all, Hannah.
Yes, of course, just as we do, Doctor.
Just as we do. Yes, of course. Yeah, just we do the same thing. Now, Spock's going to be able to withstand this, isn't he? So this guy's going to...
Sargon, it won't work. Get out before you kill them.
We will vacate at once. Until you can administer a metabolic reduction injection.
I mean, we really should stop doing this because we don't know what it's going to do to the human hosts.
You'll take me to your pharmacology laboratory.
And Christine likes Spock. We've seen that several times in this series.
You will administer to Captain Kirk. Sargon is in his body.
We want to kill Sargon. That's the one with the
This
poison.
hypo does not contain the same formula.
No, that's correct.
Without the same formula, Captain Kirk will die.
What were you saying?
Oh, no.
You see, Sargon would not permit me to keep this body. It is therefore necessary for you to kill your captain so that Sargon will die with him.
Leonard Nimoy's going to have fun with this one, friends. And I am here for it.
All is proceeding as expected and as promised. I can find no reason for concern.
Yet I still have it.
Yet I am filled with foreboding.
Thank God for you, Bones. Bones is like me. We trust nothing.
You held my hand like this.
So, Anak, I wonder if Anak likes her, or if this is just a political thing from way back when.
Android robot hands, of course. Hands without feeling. Enjoy the taste of life while you can.
We can move among the people who do live, teaching them, helping them, not to make the errors we did.
I had something to say. I can't seem to remember.
God, that would suck. So I'm assuming that was like one of their races types of things to, eliminate Christine's memories. Or I wonder if it was a Vulcan thing. Like, I thought he was going in for a mind meld.
You'll need micro gears and some form of pulley that does what a muscle does.
Now, that would be highly inefficient.
I tell you, lady, this thing won't work.
Dickhead.
Sargon has closed his mind to a better way. With these bodies.
She's not close to it. Nimoy is sinister in this one.
Are these bodies too much to ask for in return? Would you prefer this?
Ooh.
Yes, I wanted to be certain there was no error. Formula is correct.
Really? The formula's right?
Feel the touch of my hand, husband.
Oh boy, this would be tough to say no to.
Can robot lips do this?
I'm going to tell you what, mad props to the actor for being able to get that line out. Can robot lips press like this? Good shot. But he said his formula was right. He checked it. I'm understanding how it's camouflaged.
Dead.
All right.
Sargon is dead. But is Captain Kirk dead? His body is, but his consciousness is still in the receptacle into which it was transferred earlier.
Really? I didn't understand. I thought he was just suppressed. I didn't realize they actually switched.
Once occupied, I'll add female features and some texturing. You no doubt want the mechanism to at least appear to be a woman.
He's doing everything he can to basically poison this well.
Sargon would have required that you enter the mechanism immediately.
Cannot live in that thing.
Okay.
Would you like to save your Captain Kirk?
Yeah.
This body pleases me. I intend to keep it.
I see.
Okay.
Only you and I will know that Dr. Mulhall has not returned to her body. Isn't that worth your captain's life?
Do you hear yourself? You don't sound right.
I will not peddle flesh.
Nice.
Destroy you with a single thought.
Listen, if you expect bones to cave, that ain't happening.
I am pleased, my beloved. It is good you have found the truth yourself.
Was he just doing this to out Hanak, or?
I have power even Henok does not suspect, beloved.
Nice.
Just as we would have placed our consciousness within robots, Sargon has placed his into yours.
He's the ship?
Doctor, leave us. Sargon has a plan. We have much work to do.
Alrighty. I'm just going to go down and get an armed escort with Type 3 phasers, and we'll be back to... Oh boy, maybe not. Bones' bravery is something that is seldom mentioned. He might be the bravest sumbitch.
Nurse Chapel, what in the devil?
That's not Chapel. Jim, do you got any echo?
I'm Anne Mulhall, back in my own body.
Destroyed all of them.
Bones prepare a hypo, the fastest, deadliest poison to Vulcans. Spock's consciousness is gone. We must kill his body.
Jesus, what a cut. What did he do?
I know every thought of every mind around me. Take the hypo from him.
Okay, so Spock's mind's in Christina, has to be, because he can shield his mind.
I'll simply transfer to another place, another body.
Uh-oh.
No, Sargon, please. Let me.
I was just fooling. Nimoy.
If there'd only been another way.
I could not allow your sacrifice of one so close to you.
There's enough poison in that hypo to kill 10 Vulcans.
No, Doctor. I allowed you to believe that to be true, so that Henok would read your thoughts and believe it also.
Where was your consciousness kept?
Christine.
The place Henok would least suspect, Captain.
That is why I was summoned into sick bay, Doctor. Mr. Spock's consciousness was placed in me. We shared consciousness together.
Thalesa and I must now also depart into oblivion.
Oh, I hate that.
Any way we can help you, Sargon?
Yes, my son.
Ah.
A last moment together.
I'm very glad that Jim, asked Anne for permission there.
Together forever.
Forever.
Something about this story I actually really dig. There's...
Sargon appreciated your cooperation, Dr. Mulhall.
Yes, I was happy to cooperate, Captain.
That's a cool exchange right there. That is a really cool exchange.
It was beautiful.
Christine got her leave line. Nice. All right, everybody, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 2, Episode 20, Return to Tomorrow. And the only thing left to do is to talk about it. All right, everybody, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 2, Episode 20, Return to Tomorrow. I'm very glad that I didn't speculate that this would be a time travel episode, because I certainly was going to at the top of the reaction, but... that's the greatest thing about Star Trek is you never know what to expect. The titles will give you something sometimes, but you can't certainly hang your hat on the ability to be able to define an episode based solely on its title. Really neat. I for some reason, there's a simplicity to this story, and you could see it coming that they would get in, especially with the way that they kind of went on and on about the physical aspects of being in the body and being able to breathe and the pumping of the blood. You kind of saw this kind of possession coming, but still there was a very kind of a romantic quality to it. And they Sininsky and the actors did a really good job of portraying that. I thought the chemistry between Bill Shatner and the actor who I will learn her name, I thought it was really good, but I think that she was the one that was the driver on all of this. I thought that her performance was very solid, especially when she was Anne, not so much when she was Falesa or whatever the alien name was. I thought she was really solid, really, really good. Again, it's like one of those characters that you see and you're like, man, this should be a regular or like a reoccurring character, like our young kid from the security group, red shirt, Garavik. We should have him back at some point. But we don't. And The security chief, the gray-haired security chief, really cool characters that I would just love to see them like roll back around, like 2, 3 times a season. Yeah, not a lot, but just enough. Yeah, and I thought that she was really solid, really great delivery. And again, like I said, I went on and on about that, and I really hope. I'm pretty sure she's the actress from the Next Generation that replaces the Beverly Crusher. And like I said, the only reason I know that is I've seen the movies of the Next Generation, and I've seen a handful of actual episodes. One of the actual episodes that I saw had this doctor in it, and I asked, well, what does I think I even asked, like, does Beverly Crusher die? I don't know the timeline or anything. And they're like, no, she's just out for a season. I have no idea what season that is. And again, I have no idea if I'm actually, my Swiss cheese brain, if I'm remembering the appropriate person that just pinged for me out of the blue. It was like, that's the person that replaced Crushers. I'm probably super wrong. If I am, I apologize for going on and on about it. But, I thought that her performance was very good, very solid. And I think her performance is what sold the episode because you could see it coming. You could see, as soon as they were like, Hanak was, on the other side, we thought it best to, make sure that everybody was represented. I'm like, okay. As soon as this guy comes online, they're giving him Spock. I mean, oh my God, okay. As soon as he comes online, there's going to be all kinds of problems. But it led to a really cool episode where we got to see Leonard Nimoy do some shit that we never see him do. Not even in like Mirror Mirror, because Mirror Mirror is basically the same Spock, just, he's like what do we say before? Where Spock is like neutral good in D&D alignment, Mirror Mirror is neutral evil. There's just like a very thin margin about their differences. But again, just seeing Nimoy smile. I mean, he plays sinister so well, and I mean that came across so evidently in this one. Really, really cool stuff. Really, really cool watching him cook in a completely different way. Looks like Spock, got the ears, has the blue shirt on, but again, sinister, the smile, the lean against the door, really cool use of like body movements that we wouldn't see with Spock use, not just facial expressions, but also just physical gestures. He had a different walk when he was going, he'd pull away from the wall and kind of almost strut out of there, just I love watching Leonard Nimoy work because he just takes so much pride in it, He really, really did. I mean, you can tell he loves the character of Spock and just he approaches it like like he's working on like his opus, So there's no wasted movement. There's no just kind of like, I'll get through the scene. You can almost feel the preparation and feel the weight of professionalism, I guess, if that makes any sense, that Leonard Nimoy conducted himself with. Like he would refuse to let even a second go by. This is my theory. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but it's almost like he would refuse to let a second of screen time go by without him fully in the character of Spock, and building that character and refining that character, reinforcing things he's already done. Really great stuff. Really great. I mean, it's something that if someone wanted to like track or, review, watch, whatever, take a class basically in how to develop a character. I mean, there are very worse. You could pick a lot worse characters than Spock and Leonard Nimoy's performance. But I think it was that ensemble performance. We had a lot of people involved in this one. Christine had a large role in this one. We had a very, very great performance by DeForest Kelley. I thought the Bones was really, we talked about it briefly, but I love that DeForest Kelley plays Bones as a massive contrarian, but not for the sake of being a contrarian. We talked about this a lot, but Bones is there he's the guy in the room that you need. Everyone needs a person like this in the room, that if you're making a decision, Bones is the person that says, you know what, that decision sort of sucks. Here's another alternative, but Bones is also the guy that if you get like, nah, I like my idea better, Bones will go, fine, whatever. He won't hold a grudge about it. And if he does, he apologizes like 30 seconds later. But I love Bones. And the other thing we spoke about, Bones, cowardice and bones do not mix. I mean, you could say that for everybody, really. I mean, you don't have anybody that's, less likely to stand up or someone that's less brave than anybody else on. I mean, you can make a case for literally anybody on the Enterprise. But I just think it sometimes goes, Bones falls into the emotional side of it. So sometimes, and this goes for me too, I'm not trying to, make myself holier than thou. Sometimes I'll overlook Bones. Sometimes, especially early on, when I was kind of still feeling out whether or not I liked him, you would overlook Bones's contribution to the episode. You're like, oh, he's just a hothead. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's there for a very specific reason. And, I think in an episode like this is what tells us what we're dealing with in every episode with Bones. Bones is static. Bones has not done a whole lot of changing in the course of the series. You could say that the others haven't either, but we could probably identify, even though it's serialized, or episodic, we could identify a few serialized elements of things that have changed between Jim Kirk or Bill Shatner's performance of Jim Kirk. Definitely, we have seen the maturation and evolution of Spock via Leonard Nimoy. And I think that goes with everybody from Uhura to Sulu to maybe not so much Chekhov, since we've just initially got him and they're still kind of getting him rolling. I mean, Scotty, everybody, right? But, Bones, no. Bones hates transporters. He's a contrarian. He likes whiskey. And he is, I've always said, he might not have your front, but by God, he's got your back. And that's Bones. And Bones is going to be there and risk it all to do what he thinks is right. And I love that. I love Bones for that. Such a vital, vital member of the crew. Basically an irreplaceable member of the crew. I don't think anybody could take Bones' spot. We talk about a doctor being replaced, Crusher being replaced by the actor we had in this one, if that's the truth. So I hope to God it is. But I don't think you could do that with Bones. I really don't. Not for the dynamic to continue between Spock, Kirk, and Bones. You couldn't roll in somebody else. You just have another doctor come in, or even like Mbenga, who we saw a couple episodes ago, and in Strange New Worlds was the chief medical officer. It'd be a brand new dynamic, right? But you couldn't replace what Bones brings. You couldn't make another character do what Bones does. It's like, oh, well, we need a new contrarian. Nah. Bones is a vital, integral part to the NCC 1701, and I will be taking no questions at this time. Before this episode, I thought that it was like a mid of the pack type of episode, mid-range episode. But this is one that gets elevated in my mind because we had an ensemble effort. We had actors doing things outside of what we normally see them doing, especially Leonard Nimoy, but also Bill Shatner, And we got to have, Christine involved, and she got to, again, there's that will they, won't they, did they, didn't they kind of aspect between Spock and Christine's relationship that the writers of Strange New Worlds basically mind that for a little bit more. But again, there's absolute evidence of, at the very least, Christine liking Spock in this one. I convinced myself of that. We see too many examples of that, almost not every episode that Christine shows up in, but a lot. She's very interested in Spock, and I love it. Friends, there's so much to learn about this one, and I just received a message that said that Q would be unavailable going forward and that he was abandoning us, apparently, for the future. I don't know what he means by that, but I do know that we have one person that we can ask about all these behind-the-scenes efforts that will be true to us, provided we play along. So friends, if you could join with me. General? Greetings and salutations, my dear friends. 'Tis I, the leader of men, the lover of women, the best friend of Jim Kirk, General Trelane, retired. Friends, this is where, having watched and reacted to an original series episode, I like to go back and find out some of the trivia and behind-the-scenes tidbits about said episode, things that would have ruined it for me had I looked it up before reacting. But to keep myself from wandering off into the weeds, I've given myself 5 distinct categories in which to address. The first, writer and director. Who were they? The second, guest stars. Did we have any? The third, of the big eight, who was present? And of course, number 4, our production notes, usually the spiciest of the categories. What went on behind the cameras of this episode of the original series? And last but certainly not least, category 5, a memorable quote from this episode. Let's get started. All right, friends, and for our very first category, writer and director, who were they? Well, the writer for this episode was John Kingsbridge. More on that later. Mr. Kingsbridge was a rookie for Star Trek, so this is a very first offering. We'll have more of this on the production notes, very similar to A Private Little War, but we'll get more into that. Who was our director for this one? Well, it wasn't the originally scheduled director for this one. Again, more in production notes, but we did have mainstay Ralph Sininsky. This is his 4th directorial effort for the original series, the 3rd of season 2. Let's move on. And now for our second category, friends, guest stars, or should I say star, since in this one we really only had one, as Diana Muldaur, or Muldaur, as Anne Mulhall, Dr. Anne Mulhall. Again, I was right about this. She does play the replacement doctor for The Next Generation. I don't know what season. It's a whole season. I do know that. I read that. She plays Dr. Pulaski. So I explained as to how I actually knew that one, and I'm still proud of my Swiss cheese brain for pulling that one out of the ether. Friends, let's move on. And now for our third category of the core cast, or the Big Eight. Who was present? Well, first off, who was the Big Eight? Well, our Big Eight consists of Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Sulu, Scotty, Uhura, and for season 2, we added Nurse Chapel and Chekhov. Everybody appears in this one except for Chekhov. Close, but no cigar. Let's move on. All right, friends, and for our fourth category, production notes. What went on behind the cameras of this episode of the original series? Let's find out. Now, friends, for our first production note, as hinted at above in the writer section, our writer for this episode is credited as John Kingsbridge, but John Kingsbridge was not the person that wrote this episode. In fact, John Kingsbridge is a pen name for one John T. Dugan. John T. Dugan, again, the first time effort in writing for the original series, crafted his script to end with both of our lead aliens in Sargon and Thalasia, or however you pronounce her name, Anne's character. They leave as spiritless, bodiless spirits, and they travel the universe. But Gene Roddenberry didn't like that. So he rewrote a couple of minor things, but the big thing was at the end, he made them be destroyed and fade into oblivion. Well, Dugan didn't like that at all, because Dugan was a devout Catholic, and he went on many interviews throughout the years and said that that was a philosophical change to what he had there. You know, he didn't have them dying and, going into oblivion, because he doesn't believe in that. And so he asked and was granted by the creatives to change his name on the script, as he was planning to use John Dugan, to John Kingsbridge. And so, friends, this is the second time in as many seasons or as many episodes as we've had a requested and granted name change. Not a good look, especially not in a small community like the Hollywood writers, but let's move on. Now, for our next production note, this one is really cool. The name of the planet was Arret. Arret is actually Arret, which is Terra spelled backwards. So it was supposed to be, a parallel to Earth, sort of, so to speak, give us more of a relationship between Terra and Arret. Can't do it. But again, this is the second time that a planet was named. We had Neural in A Private Little War, and this time Arret were not named, though they appeared numerous times in the script, and the script had actual dialogue that called for the name to be read out. But for some reason, I've looked in all my sources, that reason wasn't given for either planet remaining anonymous. Who knows? Let's move on. Now, this one, friends, this next production note is very interesting to me. So, what ended up happening with this one was, I told you before that Ralph Sininsky was not to be the director of this. He was not the scheduled director for this episode. The scheduled director was Joseph Pevney. Joseph Pevney quit the series, and he cited the following as to his main reason for quitting. Apparently, He had many, but his main reason was he believed that the lack of discipline of the actors and the staff and the crew was very, very prevalent now that Gene L. Coon no longer worked for the show. He was disillusioned by what had become to the cast and crew. That speaks volumes for both Joseph Pevney and for Gene L. Coon. Friends, let's move on. And now for our next production note. This one is really, really interesting as well, friends. As a lieutenant commander, Ann Mulhall, Dr. Ann Mulhall, has the distinction of being the highest ranking named female Starfleet officer to appear in the original series. I think that's really, really cool, especially since, she was kind of brought in by Sargon and introduced to all of us and delivered a fantastic performance, one that lands her a gig later, generations down the road, maybe a generation down the road. Friends, let's move on. And last but certainly not least, for our production notes, in this episode, Sargon is voiced by Scotty, James Doohan. Friends, he can do it all. Let's move on. And last but not least, I forgot I had this one, a bonus production note. This marks the return of George Takei as Sulu. He had been gone ever since I Mud in the production order for 10 episodes, marking his return in this episode, Return to Tomorrow, away from the Green Berets as helmed by John Wayne, and back with us among the stars. It is great to have you back, Sulu. Let's move on. And last but certainly not least, friends, our fifth section is memorable quotes. Do we have a memorable quote from this episode? Yes, we do. And I thought I would give this one to Sargon because I liked it. It was ominous and it was sort of like a look into a potential future for the human race, as he coined it as well, something that could happen to humanity, his sons and daughters and going forward. Sargon says to Kirk, "One day our minds became so powerful we dared think of ourselves as gods." Friends, thus ends another installment of Q&A. Until we meet again, brave adventurers, behave yourselves.